What up guys, Jordan Sather back at you here on June 6th, and this one's going to be the typical overview. So I got a lot of different topics we'll be rolling through in this one. I'm going to do my best to stay on track. You know, sometimes it can get tough in these videos going through so many different topics, but got my notepad, got my computer, so this one should be good. And we're going to be covering a lot of stuff. Q on Infowars. Was Q really on Infowars? We'll talk about that. Some UFO articles in the mainstream media, some big pharma, news about big pharma, and Alzheimer's and vaccines as well. Some good news on 5G, and then some unfortunate deaths, some suspicious deaths to talk about, and arrests as well. So that's that, and let's get started. All right, shout out to a sponsor of this channel in NOBLEGOLD. As you guys know, they've been helping me do these videos, and I got something new from them actually. They just came out with this Q commemorative coin. As you guys might have seen in previous videos, you know, they've done some other commemorative coins like their Trump coin. They just came out with this awesome bronze Q coin. They're starting with bronze. Keep it simple, keep it cheap. I think they're testing the waters, going to see how it does. But this is really cool. It's got the Q with the American flag on it. Where we go and we go all, the Great Awakening, some 17s on it. This is a pretty sweet piece. And it's pretty cheap, 17 bucks for one. There's a $5 discount if you want to grab two of them. My coupon code for that will be in the description below. It's Jordan, I believe, just my name. And lastly, this is something that I'm doing personally. I'm going to be donating a portion of the proceeds from every coin sold to General Flynn's defense fund. Again, this is just me doing it personally. Every month I'll be donating a portion of the proceeds to him. So if you grab these, you can support a great company, American-based company in NOBLEGOLD. You can support me, and you'll be supporting General Flynn and getting a pretty sweet coin out of it. So check that out. Link will be in the description down below. And let's get to it. So to begin, we're going to be talking about Q and Flynn. And first article here, Alex Jones on Infowars. This happened a couple of days ago. Q joins Infowars live on air. Q joins Infowars live on air. Huh. Have you seen this? When you read this headline, what did you think? Me? I just laughed. I just cracked up. You think Q would really be joining Infowars live on air? That's just about the most misleading title I think I've ever seen. And, you know, I see quite a few misleading titles from Infowars from time to time, but this one just takes the cake. No communications outside of 8chan. We already know that. No comms. And I believe in this interview, Lee Stranahan even called in. Strawman Stranahan. He's bashed on Q time and again. So, I mean, this is just desperation. Infowars knows that they're getting so attacked and so exposed. I mean, they're exposing themselves, you know, that they know that they have to switch gears and start liking Q, reporting on Q, acting like they're being honest just to get the views, get the clicks. But we already know. They've already exposed themselves plenty. So that's that. No, Q was not on Infowars. Let's straighten that up. And then let's talk Michael Flynn. So I just saw this an hour or two ago. Michael Flynn abruptly fires his lawyers. Abruptly fires his lawyers. They're calling it a potential change in his legal strategy. I don't think this is a change in anything. I think this was probably a part of the plan long ago. And let's just take a look at Michael Flynn's situation. He pleaded guilty to something he wasn't guilty of. Why did he do that? Think legal injection. How do you legally inject his testimony into a court or into federal investigations? Well, he pleads guilty. He interviews with the special counsel. He interviewed 18, 19 times with them. There you go. Now that that's done, special counsel's wrapping up. Michael Flynn can change pace, and it's time for offense, right? So thank you, General Flynn. Hope you get exonerated. I know you will, and I know you're going to continue doing great work for this country. So that's why I think we need to support him, right? And that's why I will be supporting him. Next topic, let's talk UFOs in the mainstream media. And wow, this one just, you know, this one really, again, made me laugh. I just chuckled at this one. Vice, of all news outlets, Vice News, one of the kings of fake news, really. They ran an article on the Contact in the Desert conference this morning. I kid you not. They called it attending the, quote, world's biggest UFO conference showed me it's a golden age for believers. Ha! Now, if you saw the video that I uploaded just this morning, I actually gave you my experience over the weekend at Contact in the Desert when they were basically censoring me and they lied about it. And I still have been contacted by the management there. I mean, it's just, again, these organizations, these individuals, we don't need to expose them. They're exposing themselves. As long as we're here being authentic and transparent and we have the truth on our side, it's not us doing it, they're doing it because they're being shady. I suggest you go watch that video, make a little card pop up. Of course, links always below. And you can check out my statement, my story, how they tried to screw me over, but didn't really work. It's just totally backfiring on them. And this is just a really poor piece on Vice News. They actually mentioned Gaia. They interviewed some people that went to Contact in the Desert. They mentioned Gaia in this article. You know, Gaia's got a bunch of their own problems. I definitely don't trust them 100%. And I frankly don't trust Contact in the Desert anymore, really one bit. So, and then they're also really shilling for this Tom DeLonge to the Stars Academy limited hangout UFO disclosures, as I've been calling it. So that's that in regards to this article. Oh, and one quick note. I don't think I've mentioned this on YouTube quite yet, but I did an interview recently. He uploaded it last weekend with the X-22 report. Shout out to Dave, awesome guy. I talked to him about UFOs, went all in on the limited hangout, exposed all of that, and talked about the Space Force and secret space programs and full disclosure that I think Q and the Trump administration want to bring us. Much more full disclosure than the fake half-truth deep state UFO disclosure we're seeing in the mainstream media right now. So again, card will pop up for that, link below. It's a great interview, go check it out. Now moving on, let's talk Pfizer. Saw this in the Washington Post, which, WAPO, careful there. Let's talk this. Pfizer had clues its blockbuster drug could prevent Alzheimer's. Why didn't it tell the world? Huh. Interesting to see this in WAPO. You would think, wow, is Washington Post actually putting Big Pharma on blast? Well, not so fast. Let's take a look at the angles of this. First angle, yes, healing technologies very much exist, very much locked away, kept secret by corporations, the intelligence community, the deep state, but it's not in the form of drugs. Really, it's in the form of energy medicine and DNA, we could say harmonizing or resonating technologies. It's not pharmaceutical drugs. So the angle of this article is they're still trying to funnel you into that big pharma drug culture. You see, Pfizer had clues its blockbuster drug could prevent Alzheimer's. Wow, so everybody's going to want that drug, right? There you go. Still funneling people. Looks like it might be exposing big pharma, but it's still funneling people into the drug culture. And not just that, but the true cure is knowing the cause. The true prevention of Alzheimer's is not a pill. It's not a drug you take every day. It's knowing the cause of it. What are the main causes of Alzheimer's? Heavy metals, fluoride, especially aluminum, fluoride and aluminum together. Research that. Mercury, nutritional deficiencies as well. Not enough omega-3 fatty acids for your brain, not enough magnesium, various minerals. Gut function has a huge impact in brain function. So, you know, we could go down the list of various holistic health ideas that can help your brain and really play a part in causing Alzheimer's. That is the true cure. The true cure is knowing the cause and doing something about it. So that's what I have to say about this article. And then a little more on Big Pharma. Let's talk about 5G. I found this in local news, local Pacific Northwest news, and it's some good news on 5G. I know a lot of people concerned about it, worried about it, but don't worry, people are definitely waking up and not happy about it. So check this out. Pushback against superfast 5G wireless spreads to at least 7 Pacific Northwest cities. Cities all around the Pacific Northwest in Oregon and Washington. We got Tacoma, Ashland, Oregon, Portland, Corvallis, Gig Harbor, Port Angeles, Bellingham. A lot of cities are holding talks saying right here, check it out, 5G situation is a nightmare and an emergency. So great news. The public standing up, voicing their concerns. That's exactly what we need to do. That's what we need to do about all of these topics, right? Get involved, call your senators, call your local officials, go to the town meetings, share your concerns, even comment and reply on posts, maybe on local news, Facebook and stuff like that. So there's something that all of us can do, and that's what's going to change things when all of us get involved, not just a few people here and there. So pushback against 5G, good news. One last article on big pharma stuffs, then we'll move on into talking about a lot of unfortunate deaths, suspicious deaths, and arrests and more investigations going on. So last article here on vaccines. 24 cases of the mumps confirmed at the University of Florida. 24 cases of mumps at U of F, University of Florida, and every single one of them were vaccinated. All 24 students were vaccinated. It admits, straight admits in this article, they didn't even try to twist the words around or make it like a double negative that wasn't trying to say what they were actually trying to say. They just straight said all 24 people were vaccinated. Now, yet another piece of evidence that herd immunity is bullshit. Okay? How many outbreaks have we had this year where 100% of the individuals were vaccinated? I have a couple of examples right here. How about that whooping cough outbreak in the LA private schools? That was when, in the local news in LA, they were trying to make it like a double negative and say, none of the students were unvaccinated. It was kind of ridiculous what they were trying to word it as because they didn't want to admit that everybody was vaccinated. And how about that Navy ship, the USS Fort McHenry? In fact, I don't know if that ship has even docked yet. It might still be floating around the Persian or the Mediterranean because there was a mumps outbreak on that ship. Navy ships can't dock if there's a contagious disease outbreak on them. So they're still doing circles, probably somewhere, because of their mumps outbreak. In the military, 100% vaccination rate. So again, we have evidence after evidence, example after example that herd immunity is bullshit. And now the angle that the mainstream media, for their big pharma corporate handlers, now the angle they're trying to do is that we need more doses. Get all your doses of all the vaccines to make them effective, to prevent. You know, fake narrative they always try to spread is that vaccines prevent disease. They're safe and effective, right? Not so. So the new narrative is that you need to get every single dose of every single shot to be fully protected. And shit, I mean, what's this going to lead to? Us needing shots every single day, like a diabetic needs insulin to stay protected? Get your daily shot to keep your immune system strong? No. You truly make your immune system strong with nutrition, with healthy living, with good choices. God gave us an immune system for us to make it work. Not through this, scientism nonsense that people go towards. So that's that on Big Pharma. Now let's move on into talking about some human trafficking, some very suspicious deaths and arrests. And unfortunately, we have a lot of them, so I'm going to try to move quick here. First up, breaking news just today, Mexico freezing the accounts of, quote, human traffickers tied to migrant caravans, the government says. Wow. So first of all, props to President Trump for strong-arming Mexico with those tariffs into doing this. And second thing, why didn't this happen sooner? Why didn't they do this months ago, years ago? Why did this ever happen in the first place? Mexico freezing the accounts of human traffickers, that should have been done ages ago. So, kind of shows you that this sort of stuff, the very top of the control structures, top of governments, top of various corporations, they either are involved in this stuff or they're purposefully turning a blind eye, and they only will either admit to it or do something about it when they're facing a lawsuit or tariffs or they're strong-armed into it. I mean, it's just absolutely absurd, the corruption that's in the highest levels of governments all around the world, the deep state. But I'm glad it's getting cleaned up. Example here. Next topic, still having to do with human trafficking. Mega church leader Joaquin Garcia, if I'm getting that right, arrested for major sex trafficking crimes. He was arrested, I believe, in the LA area. This news is out of LA, and he was arrested in California. So Southern California getting cleaned up. This church leader, he was the head of a huge organization with some million members worldwide, a lot of different satellite churches. He committed the crimes between 15 and 18, so they were fairly recent. His own religious organization was headquartered in Mexico. That's also interesting concerning what we just talked about. But good news, this swamp is getting cleaned up. California is getting cleaned up. All this nasty, horrible trafficking worldwide is also getting cleaned up. All right, now let's go into News about Jeffrey Epstein. So federal prosecutors seeking new information about the Jeffrey Epstein case. Unseal Epstein. Absolutely. How did this guy get off so damn easy in his court case? What's going on his island? What's really going on his little island out in the Caribbean? Yeah, there's a lot more where this comes from, and I think we're going to be hearing a lot more about Jeffrey Epstein this year, okay? So don't forget that name or that story. Suspicious deaths, okay? Let's start off with a Lockheed Martin engineer and his wife. Lockheed Martin engineer, believe he was an Air Force veteran as well, and his wife die from an unidentified illness. They're calling it a mysterious illness while they were vacationing in Fiji. So, I mean, it's just a horrible story. You know, I don't like to see any individual die mysteriously, especially a person and their wife. But it's just suspicious because mysterious illness, they don't know. Not just that, but he's connected to Lockheed Martin, suspicious corporation. Weird stuff goes on there quite often. And also Fiji. Fiji is a hot spot for human trafficking, shady deep state stuff. So I am hoping there's nothing deeper to this. But nevertheless, suspicious stuff, so I'm reporting on it. And prayers to that family. In fact, prayers to all these individuals that we're going to talk about. Next up, we're going to go through a couple of deaths out of New York. NYPD officer shot dead by, they're calling it a self-inflicted gunshot wound. So he basically committed suicide in Queens, police are saying. And this guy, he was 62 years old. He was only a month away from retirement. Again, very suspicious. That's why I'm making note of it here. Who's going to go and kill themselves a month before their retirement? Really weird. Really, really weird. I've seen some people speculate this might have to do with Anthony Weiner's laptop, with some high-level investigations going on in the NYPD in New York there. I mean, could be. I haven't seen anything to negate it, so that's just a possibility. I haven't seen any definitive evidence to, so again, let's not run with assumptions here, assume things are fact when they're not, but again, really suspicious. Next suspicious death, also out of New York. This one just breaking minutes ago. Search underway for missing New York Police Department homicide detective. Homicide detective. This guy, his name was Joseph Calabrese. He was last seen around 2 a.m. on Thursday at a medical center. Say his wife had a minor procedure at the center, but now he is missing. Homicide detective. I would be really interested to see if there was a connection between this individual and potentially the investigation of this NYPD officer with a self-inflicted gunshot wound found in Queens. So, but again, I don't know if there's a connection there. Regardless, weird stuff going on at the NYPD this week. I'm wondering what sort of cover-ups may or may not be going on there. Next story, let's talk about the state senator. We actually have 2 state senators to discuss here. This one, news breaking a couple of days ago about state senator out of Arkansas. Arkansas. What else is from Arkansas? The Clintons are. There could be a Clinton connection here. We'll discuss that in a sec. But Arkansas State Senator Linda Collins Smith reportedly shot to death in her home. It was ruled not a suicide. Her body was found wrapped in a rug, I believe. And what's really interesting about this is that she was woke, dude. She was on it. She called into the Patriot Soapbox Q Talk YouTube channel. They're live basically 24 hours a day, always talking about QAnon and deep state related stuff. She called into that YouTube channel just 2 months ago. Jared Holt, that shill for the Right Wing Watch, he wrote a hit piece on her when she did. She called into Patriot Soapbox and she was talking about some local issues that were going on in Arkansas there. So the fact that just 3 months later, she was now shot to death, reportedly, I mean, just very suspicious. Suspicious, and prayers to her and her family. Again, I really hope there's nothing deeper to all this stuff going on, because we don't like to see that sort of violence and nonsense occurring. And then last suspicious death to report on, then I have 2 more articles to finish up. Former Oklahoma state senator found dead in his home. This is breaking again just this morning. I just saw it. I don't even have it written down on my notes. Just showing you guys the article here. and he died of an apparent gunshot wound. So it doesn't say self-inflicted. Officers are still working to determine the exact cause and manner of the death, so don't know if it's self-inflicted or not, but nevertheless, another gunshot wound. So quite a few individuals being found dead from gunshot wounds. Suspicious. That's the word of the day, suspicious. So prayers to all of those people that I just listed. And, you know, as more information rolls in, I'll probably put it on Twitter. So make sure you go follow me there. A lot of this news that I put in these videos goes on Twitter. And then last couple of articles. This one here, Alabama passing a bill requiring chemical castration for certain child molesters. Gotta say, I support that one. Let's get that mandated on a federal level. A few more, let's say, or a few less lenient penalties for child molesters. And then very last article, totally switching topics for what we've been talking about for a few minutes here, but I want to touch on some space topics, some technology. A mythical form of space propulsion finally gets a real test. This is in the mainstream media, in Wired, published yesterday. They're talking about what's called an electromagnetic drive. They're calling it the EM drive, or like this ion propulsion. Works by converting electricity into microwaves and channeling this electromagnetic radiation through a conical chamber. Huh. Pretty incredible. Okay? Few things about this. Number one, the fact that they're bringing forth into the public, they're normalizing, quote, mythical forms of space propulsion, basically sort of next level stuff. That's a good thing. But it's also a bad thing because, you know, I've been talking about limited hangouts quite a bit lately, and this is sort of that. It's not the best. It's not the deepest of what's truly been done. Electromagnetic space propulsion has been in existence for decades, since the 50s at least, and we're not talking about some like fancy new rocket booster that uses electromagnetic propulsion. We're talking about anti-gravity or electrogravitics, right? Electromagnetic propulsion where the whole craft is in, you know, it has, say, some capacitor in the middle of it, a superconductor, that they're able to make the whole craft levitate and then have inertial shielding. So it's not subject to the gravity and inertia that, say, rockets and jets are. The whole craft has inertial shielding from the drive it's using. So the craft can go near light speed, if not faster than light speed, and dematerialize and rematerialize, right? So actual secret space program black project propulsion technologies are so far beyond this, and they're not mythical. So it's good that the mainstream media is normalizing this sort of stuff in terms of space propulsion and UFOs, ET life, etc., etc. But again, it goes far deeper than what they're admitting. So if you want that deeper truth, you gotta find it on your own. You gotta read the books, watch the lectures, watch the YouTube videos, study the articles, study yourself. So there you go, guys. That's all for this one. Hope you enjoyed this video. A lot of links will be down below. Link for that Qcoin, link for that interview that I did with X22, and links for a lot of these articles that I discuss, all the notable stuff below. Thank you, guys. I'll be back soon. Done.